Thank you, Janine. Welcome, everyone. Nice to see everyone here. Steve, I'm so glad you're here.
Me too.
How's the audio coming through? Can you hear me? Can everyone hear me?
Excellent.
Beautiful. Good. That's one step towards abundance and gratitude. Okay, good. Something to be grateful for. We have audio. We have great technology. Technology is our friend. So it's 9:02, and I know, we've all had a long, wonderful, busy day. We've accomplished a lot of things. I know we all have. And it's amazing how the days go by, and the more we are part of these communities, the more we feel like, wow, we're doing a lot. We're doing so much. We're killing it. It's pretty amazing. Peter, welcome.
What are you recording for, man?
I am calling from New Jersey. Yeah, Saddle River. So welcome, Peter. And it's 9:03, so I want to welcome everyone. Maybe we could wait 1 or 2 more minutes for other people to show up. Today's meditation is going to be around abundance, good fortune, and luck. Becky and I had a conversation earlier, and this is a meditation that she heard and that really resonated with her. And I said, yeah, why not? We'll do that. Sure. I love it. I love connecting with Source. So that's what today's meditation is going to be about. All right. Well, before we do that, how's everyone doing? I'd like to. You're doing. You're doing great. Good. I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah.
So glad. Yeah.
Doing great. Can we just say like how great that shirt looks on Peter? I know he went off camera right now, but that color looks really, really good on him. I like to compliment people like that. I like to give like a little props and heads up when people are like killing it. I like to give them a little props and say, "Hey, you're killing it right there."
I love it when you compliment, Becky. Really love it. Beautiful. Okay. So it's 9:04. Let's practice. Let's start. So this is going to be around a 10-minute meditation. It might take a little longer. We might go a little bit over time to over 10 minutes. This meditation, the intention of this meditation is to clear limiting beliefs around abundance, invite good fortune and luck into our life, and cultivate a strong sense of gratitude, because I do believe that from gratitude comes abundance, and there's always something to be grateful for. There's always something to complain about, but there's always something to be grateful for. So what do we want to focus on? I want to focus on gratitude today, and I think we all do. And that's the intention. And that we have everything that we need. We really do. We have air. I mean, that's one of the basic things. A lot of us have food, maybe too much food. We have a place to sleep. We have a over our heads, which is more than a lot of people in this world. So let's start with that. We're gonna settle down, settle into our body, and you're invited to find a quiet and comfortable place to sit or lie down. It's up to you. Whatever you feel most comfortable with. You can close your eyes or leave them halfway open, gazing inward. We're going to start with our breath. Remember to breathe through your diaphragm. Inhale gently. Exhaling gently. Another tip that my cousin taught me is placing the tongue on the ridge of your mouth, right before your teeth, gently placing the tongue there. This allows for easier breathing and less salivation. As you're focusing on your breath, allow each breath to relax you. Deeply, letting go of any tension or stress in the body or in the mind, any physical tension, any thoughts. Allow yourself to let them go. Acknowledge them without judgment or attachment. Take a moment to settle and relax to this space, giving yourself time to let go or clear anything. Acknowledge your day.
Sammy, louder.
Thank you. Acknowledge your day. Acknowledge any thoughts that you have going through your mind. Take a moment and just acknowledge everything you've accomplished today. Now bring your attention to your heart center. If you wish to do so, you can place your hand over your heart. Imagine a warm, golden light glowing at the center of your heart, filling your chest with this healing energy. This light and healing energy represents abundance and your potential. Feel it. Feel it in your chest. Feel it in your heart, spreading throughout your body. Your heart is a gateway to source, to infinite abundance. You know and feel this all the time. Whenever you see someone overcoming a challenge, you have this overwhelming emotion of joy for them, for the potential they've achieved. That's abundance. You feel joy and happiness when someone else wins, as if you won. Because the truth is you did. Because the truth is we're all connected. As you breathe in, visualize this golden light expanding further into your body, into every cell, starting from your head down to your toes. Feel it healing every cell in your body. This is infinite source. This is abundance. This is healing energy. Now feel it radiating outside of your body, beyond your body, into your surroundings. Feel the energy spread further and further, and feel yourself expand with this energy. Going beyond yourself. Knowing that as this energy expands beyond you, it's also healing and releasing any doubts or fears, any limiting beliefs. Just release. And all that's left is abundance. Abundance in the form of healing energy, radiating outwards into your surroundings and further, as far as you'd like it to go. And now I invite you to imagine a beautiful, radiant, angelic presence or a trusted spirit or a trusted source. Imagine it standing before you with all its radiance, all its divinity. Imagine this source or spirit or guide imagine this presence as a guide into your journey into abundance. Reach out and allow the guidance. Feel your heart expand as you open up and allow, releasing any fears, any limiting beliefs. It's all gone. There's none left. And as you connect with this presence, this spirit, this angel, however it shows up for you, ask, request, and be open to guidance, strength, protection. Trust that this presence is always with you. Notice that this presence has always been within you. Always. Now in your mind, visualize however abundance shows up for you, whether it's in health, it's in something physical, object, relationship, or all of the above. Visualize this in your mind. Know that it's there. Feel it as if it already happened. It's waiting for you. Feel your body gravitate and elevate towards it. Feel your energy rise. Feel your heart expand. This is who you are. You are abundance. You always have been. Feel it. Allow it. Receive it. Remember, abundance is your birthright. It is your birthright. You have the power to manifest it in your life. You have manifested in your life. You just need to turn up the volume in some areas. Know that the most trustworthy person on this earth or in the universe is the person you look at in the mirror every day. Trust yourself. Believe in yourself. You got this. Feel your own power. Feel what you created today, in this moment, in these few minutes. Feel it. Know that you have the power to create this at any time, at any moment, within an instant. You got this. This is you. Abundance. Infinite source. Now, before we come to a close, I invite you to place your hand over your heart and acknowledge yourself. Thank yourself. The space you created, the grace you gave yourself, for the time, for the energy, for the healing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Don't forget to breathe as you're thanking yourself. Take this gratitude with you tonight as you go to sleep or into your day and into tomorrow. And when you're ready, and slowly and gently move your toes, your fingers, your facial muscles. And when you're ready, slowly and gently open your eyes and see the abundance around us. Thank you, everyone, for making it tonight. Thank you, Samira, my cousin, for boldly asking me to be louder.
Thank you, honey. Honey, may I make another request?
Yes.
So, Habibi, you can actually call me Samira the way that you know how to call me. Don't Americanize it.
Samira.
Thank you.
Hayati,
Great
thank you.
meditation.
Thank you, Hayati. Thank you. I appreciate it.
And for you guys to know,
Samira.
Hayati means my life and Habibi means my love.
Samira, I'd like to introduce you to Peter Swain, who I have.
Hi, Peter.
Assalamu alaikum. كيف حالك?
Alhamdulillah. How are you?
Wasn't expecting that, were you, Sammy?
No, I
I'm good,
was
thank you very much.
I'm not surprised, though.
Sadly, I grew up in Dubai, so my accent is pretty good, but my vocabulary is, well, we just had all of it. Right, that was it.
That was it. Okay, sadly. I know.
Apart from Habibi, Habibti, Yahi, Yati, that general level. But it's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you. The pleasure is all mine.
Sammy, why do you run this
Steve,
at 9 p.m. Eastern? Like, why'd you do that to me?
yeah. So Peter, what would you prefer? What bold
Well,
request do you have of us today?
not 2 a.m. UK. That's my request.
Wow. Wow.
But no, I'm only joking. I all my clocks are set to Eastern hours because it's just I've given up.
You're just always working. That's the thing with being in the UK. Yeah.
Well, the plan was, we set up the company in America, we set up the company in Costa Rica, and the plan was to move to the States. And a very non-political comment, but my wife decided that after some recent US legislation that wasn't where she wanted to bring up an 8-year-old girl. When somebody says you want us to move from a country where we can't get shot to where we can get shot, it's very hard to come up with an argument that can, like, it doesn't matter how much money. It's like, we got an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old. You sure you want to do that? So I think I maybe romanticized an America of a decade ago. And as somebody that loves the States, I look forward to you returning to that position that you were in a decade ago. But for the moment, I'm just going to stay on my home being seat 5C on British Airways as I accumulate lots of air miles. And so yeah, so I hope no one hears that with any offense. It wasn't meant in that way at all. But I think the US is a little bit divisive at the moment and needs to heal a bit more. And I live in a socialist country where it doesn't really matter, everything's going to be okay. Which we pay through the nose for the privilege of being able to say that sentence.
That's okay. We pay through the nose for the privilege of not getting to be socialist. and don't get any of those perks that you get.
Well, I realized this after like 10 years of doing the travel. The reason that people get like the US and the UK quite misunderstood is the average is the same in almost everything. If you look at education, we have a much narrower band of highs and lows. But you guys have Stanford, Yale, Harvard, MIT, just institution after institution after institution. But last year, actually, sorry, the year before, 2021, there was a school in Detroit that got ranked lower than a school in Sudan. So at the same time as having Harvard, Stanford, Yale, MIT, you also have schools in inner cities that rank lower than third world countries. Your access to capital, same thing. If you want to succeed and you want to borrow $1 million, that's absolutely fine. But if you want to be below the breadline, good luck. Your food standards, the same thing. You have some of the best food in the world by far, but then you invented Taco Bell. So on the other side, and I mean, essentially, they've done tests, and the packaging has more nutritional value than the food. Your healthcare, same thing again. Like, you have a rare, ultra rare thing, and you have health insurance. The US is the best place in the world, bar none. It'll throw billions of dollars at the rarest of thing, but if you don't have health insurance and you've got the flu, good luck. But in the UK, we don't let our lower standard fall that low, but that costs billions and billions and billions of dollars to have that safety net, which means that your highs can't get as high. So our best healthcare is not as good as yours. Our best food is not as good as yours. Our best education is not as good as yours. But here, it doesn't matter what happens, you're going to be okay. You're going to be physically okay and be able to educate your kids and feed your children and drink water that you feel inspired, but not going to kill you. But in COVID, I went to the bank and asked to borrow money on $500,000 of equity in a house, and they said, you can't afford it. I'm like, what do you mean I can't afford it? Like, if I default tomorrow, you're $500,000 up. And they're like, yeah, but you and I know we can't take your house because you've got kids in it. So it doesn't matter. It's not an asset that we can use to secure the lending because we can't get the asset. A friend of mine in America was like, man, I could lend you $6 million next to that 500K of equity, and you could tell me you're going to go and buy Nikes. You could tell me anything you want, and I can get you $6 million. I'm like, yeah, but I'm not there, am I? I'm here. So I love the US. I see it as certainly part of the future, but right now it's just a lot of travel. And Sammy, I'll give you something else. There was a footballer called Georgie Best, soccer player. And he is the ultimate flawed genius. He was around in the 60s. He used to smoke, drink, womanize, you name it, like this guy did it. To the extent where the coach would have to often remind him that he still had a cigarette in his mouth as he was running onto the pitch because he was late because he'd been with some woman that night. Like, a crazy guy. But if it wasn't for the flawedness, if it wasn't for the flawed, he probably wouldn't have been great. But if it wasn't for the flawed, he was easily the best soccer player that ever lived by a massive margin. He once took his boots off and dribbled the ball back to his own goal so he could go around all 11 players without his boots on to prove that, because someone had said something about, because he got new boots that no one else had at the time. So he literally took them off and dribbled around everybody and scored. This is who this guy was. Amazing talent. But the sentence that he said that like drives quite a bit in me at the time is he turned around and he tackled his own player. Like, he tackled his own player and took the ball off his own player and put it in the net twice, and they won the game. And as he's walking off, picking up a pint of beer and a cigarette on the sidelines, a journalist said, George, you tackled your own player? And he just looked at the guy and said, yeah, winners want the ball.
Winners want the ball.
And it didn't need to, like, no poetry, no, just winners want the ball. So why am I up at 2 o'clock in the morning?
Because winners want the ball.
And the second one, which I also like, is the Will Smith one about the treadmill. Have you heard that?
No.
Oh, you should search YouTube for this video. The guy says here, what's your key to success? And he goes, I'll die on a treadmill. And the interview goes, sorry? He says, I'll die on a treadmill. You can be sexier than me. You can be more talented than me, but you will not outwork me. There are two, if you and I get on a treadmill at the same time, one of two things is going to happen. You will quit or I will die. They're the two choices. You will quit or I will die. You will never, ever, ever outwork me. Do the damn thing.
Yeah. Amazing. Sounds reminds me of the Navy SEAL training. It's like you either do it or you die. You have no choice. That's it.
I feel like you can write essays unpacking all that stuff right there.
So,
Love
but
it. Thank
I
you.
do get like a great deal of pleasure of texting people like now that are going on the East Coast because you're still up, and then sending them the next one before they've woken up. Like, yeah, you're at home, I'm still working, and I'm going to flood you full of messages before you even get back to the office. Be like, what the? Like, yeah, I meant it. You will quit or I will die. They're the two choices. I wasn't joking.
That's such a baller move too. Like I know whenever I wake up and I see there's like a bunch of messages, like somebody's up and productive way before I even open my eyes. It always humbles me greatly.
Yeah, I don't enjoy the morning rush as much when I'm in the US because it is the morning rush. For me, it's a 1 p.m. So I've already done 4 hours worth of work before we do it. So I'm like, yeah, let's go.
Why you're in the zone all the time. Like you're like pumped and energized and like you've been rocking it out.
I mean, I want to just show you this quickly. So when I say this, that's my week.
Whoa.
Look,
Right.
and there are things above that too. It's not just a schedule from God knows when to, like, there's also things above that
Yeah.
to do, a to-do list above the schedule.
And that was the stuff that was captured today that isn't yet on there.
And highlighted too.
Yeah, and see, Daily Rush is there. See, look.
Yeah.
Why is family time every other day though?
Oh, so, but
Good catch,
this is,
Patrick.
no, it's a genuine problem. Thanks for saying that, because one of the issues with the way that these schedules are aligned is most of the time I can call people and do something. 6 p.m. for me is 1 p.m. Eastern and 10 a.m. So the 6 to 8 p.m. with family is like, this is so prime time that giving it every day is too much. And I made I've got a couple of really lucky blessings. One, me and my wife met when we were in our mid-30s, not in our 20s. So we're both comfortable with ourselves. We're both happy in our own skin. We're both happy to exist singly as well as exist as a couple. And number two, we were both mature enough. I'm not saying people younger can't do this, but we were mature enough to know to make our deals and make our agreements. And every year since we got married, January the 2nd, I ask for her permission to do it again. And I ask if she's still aligned with me doing this for another year. And whenever any business partner wants me to make a commitment, I say, yeah, I can give you till December. And they're like, well, this is a 3-year deal. I'm like, no, next year, my wife gets the choice whether she wants to opt in or not again, because she puts in as much work as I do, because she wakes up at 7, she gets the kids ready for school, she gets the kids to school, she runs the house, she cooks the food, she picks the kids up. She has a full-time job that isn't the tip of the spear, but there's no way I could do this unless she was doing that. It is a 100% team, and she has to be respected and admired for that. And society doesn't, and it's like it's insanely ridiculous. But we're a great team.
Yeah.
Oh, and the other thing is the rules around family time is I turn off my phone. And I have a bat phone. It's called the bat phone. It's a Nokia feature phone with a $20 credit and my business partners and my mother have that number, and they're the only people that have it. And it's like, if shit is blowing up, if it literally can't be fixed in an hour, you can call this number. But if you ever cry wolf, I will change the number. This is a ripcord. Like, because I'm gonna literally take my kid out of a bath and dump them with a stranger if you call this number. That's what's gonna happen. So never ever call it unless you have to. But people said to me, like, why don't you put your phone on silent or da 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 da? I'm like, it doesn't do the same thing. Leaving my iPhone at home on a Saturday and just say, no, I'm not, because all of the social scientists and psychologists, you spend billions of dollars programming this thing to get my attention, and you're really good at what you do. Yeah, you're super good at it. Like, these are some of the smartest people in the world, have spent years and billions of dollars working out how to make you think that that thing needs your attention when it says it needs your attention. So the only way I was able to just leave it and take an old school Nokia $20 phone that the only thing you can do is call.
But it's a good phone.
It's a great phone, man. It does its job. I can call people and stuff.
Miss
You can throw
those
that
phones.
phone on.
It's a great phone. It is such a great phone.
So yeah, I think a lot of people, and I still wish there was more time there, Becky, and it's a great question. But I think the intentionality of your time is a more important variable to control than the quantity of your time.
Yeah, fully focused hours like that with your kids. That's more than most people can do in a week, if we're being perfectly honest. Because you're right, we do get distracted by everything. We get distracted by our phones. I admit that I don't give my kids 100% of my intention, and I usually end up, when I'm done doing whatever I'm done doing, I go find them out and I apologize. I'm like, I was not present. You were trying to talk to me. I was not 100% present. You deserve better than that. And I deeply apologize. And I'm want to try to do better. I want to try to do better. I'm going to try to do better. And I know my kids appreciate that. But yeah, it's a wake up call for me whenever I have to find myself doing it. And that's why I make myself do it, because I need to own up to it.
Yeah.
I asked my daughter the other day on the weekend if I could take a call. The phone was ringing, and I said to Olivia, do you mind if I take this? And she went, no, we're doing this. And I'm like, okay. And then she asked me afterwards, she went, was it important? I went, yeah. And she went, for your work? I'm like, yeah. I was like, then why wouldn't you take it? I'm like, because you're it.
Yeah.
And she's like, what? I'm like, you're the reason, Olivia. You and your mum and Sam, your brother, you're it. Like, everything I do is in service of you. And she's like, will it change the elect? Because every time I go away, I go, why does Daddy go away? And she goes, to help people, to keep the electricity on, and to buy me toys. That's what she's been told. and she's like, will it affect the toys if you don't take the call? And I'm like,
Wow.
and I'm like, yes, it will.
Next time, take the call.
And she's like, you should call them back, Daddy.
I love that. That's so honest.
Well, she's never been told what she's not allowed to do. Like, even she's like, can I? I'm like, sure, of course you can. It's like, but Mummy's going to be upset. I'm like, yeah, probably. I'm like, will you be angry? I'm like, yeah, definitely. I'm like, what do you think will happen then? She went, you'll probably punish me. I'm like, yeah, probably. Like, so I can't do it. I'm like, no, I didn't say that. You can do whatever you want to do. Whatever you want, honey, you are free. And like, there are ramifications. There's stuff that happens as a result of you doing whatever you want to do, but I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm not here to tell you what not to do. I'm here to tell you, do whatever you want to do in the whole of your life, forever. Do whatever you want to do. But just be very dialed into the sacrifices that are going to come with the decisions you make.
Yeah.
Completely up to you. So I think I'm going to do it anyway. I'm like, sure, let's dance the dance, honey. Let's go. Let's do it. So I've tried to make them part of those decisions all the way through. I don't know. I don't think there's a right answer. I know that I'd rather be present when I'm present and not when I'm not.
Exactly.
Like, I don't understand people that I get I'm not the same as everybody, and I'm not saying this whatsoever. I don't understand people that do the morning rush driving. Like, drive, like, focus on the road, do that. Or if this is worth it, do this. But I'm not quite sure you can actually do both. Doesn't really make, I don't know. And other people have different schedules. I have the blessing of being able to schedule everything I do around the way I want to do it. So I don't have to face those problems, I guess.
Peter, I love that approach to parenting. I mean, it's just very unique. You don't hear about that, but it's like, wow. And it's empowering your kid, to make choices and not feel like they can't. But the thing that came up through to me in this whole meditation, for some reason, I don't know why, is meditating on the connection to light and source. And in the middle of it all came the phrase, as I love myself, love others, which is flipping the old golden rule thing around, reversing it. As I love myself, love others, versus love others as yourself. But as I love myself, love others, I really need the freedom to make choices. I need that freedom. If I don't have that, I'm going to either rebel against it or just get really depressed and kind of withdrawn and not be able to be the creative person I can be and fulfill my passions and callings and all that. But it's like, as I love myself, love others. And, just
Beautiful.
That's what you're doing with your parenting. It's like you want to give yourself that opportunity to make choices, but you're also telling yourself there's consequences to my choices, and you're passing that on to your child. It's just such a wise, enlightened approach. I'm just blown away.
Thank you. It was it's got a weird origin, and the origin was that I was sitting through, I think it was a TED talk or something, and the speaker was talking about the fact that the part of your brain that speaks and the part of your brain that hears are actually not connected.
Mm.
And I was like, whoa. It's like, so every word I say is being heard independently of the part that thought to say it. So every time you say something, it reinforces the neural pathway, and the neural plasticity gets less. And one of those words that's just simply not true is I can't. What do you mean you can't? You can't kill someone. Yes, you can. It's really quite easy. Pick up a real heavy brick, walk behind them, and smack them over the head. Like, you very much can. You shouldn't. That's true. You shouldn't do it. And it will have an insane amount of consequences if you do. But the phrase "I can't" is untrue. It's not correct. You can't earn $1 million tomorrow. Untrue. Go and rob a bank. You can earn $1 million tomorrow. Again, insane amount of consequence that comes with it, but you can do it. And when you start getting this mentality of, well, I can do anything I want, the creativity in your brain just starts firing, and you start finding new ideas and da 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 da. So I used to run this exercise with people in my company where I asked them to give me 20 bad ideas once a week. Give me 20 bad ideas to double revenue. And I'm like, well, one of the things that holds us up is thinking of a good idea. Because then we get judgmental of ourselves. We start thinking about what other people are going to think of us. All this crap starts coming in as soon as you say you've got to come up with a good idea. So when you ask people to come up with 20 bad ideas, they just vomit when it's freeing, they just go blah 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 blah. And always about number 17, you look at it and go, actually, that's not as stupid as I think it is. Because your brain will just, it starts connecting stuff and pulling out different ideas and different thoughts. You're like, well, hang on a second. That's actually quite good. So as soon as I became a parent, it became the same thing. It was like, why am I going to tell them? Why am I going to teach them that they can do stuff and they can't? Why am I going to teach them limitations? Even with me, I want them to understand cause and effect. Because that's it. Like, that's the whole thing. You do this, that's going to happen. Start thinking in advance. Well, what do you think is going to happen if you do this? What do you think is going to happen if you do that? And what do you think isn't? And then is it worth it? Well, then if it is, then knock yourself out. Like, because at least I think the only thing that counts, getting quite deep here, but I think the only thing that counts is that you're on your deathbed and you say, I did it my way. Like, what else matters? Whatever your version of it is. I just want to die at peace. I want to die going, yeah, that was an intentional life. I caused and created the stuff. Generally speaking, I did what I thought was right. Like, whether I'm rich, poor, whatever, but as long as I can say, no, that was the plan. Maybe it went horribly right, maybe it went horribly wrong, but that was the plan.
This share is fire. I'm sorry, but like all of a sudden I'm making all these connections for myself that are really amazing. When you were sharing how you were parenting your kid and you just reinforced it, I'm like, wow. You're reminding them that we are always in choice of absolutely everything. We might not like the choices available to us, yep. But we're always in choice. There's always a choice. We might automatically not like them and disqualify them for not being there, but we can't deny that there are options and there are choices available to us. And it's a choice whether or not we choose to acknowledge them or not. That's a choice in itself. And it's a choice whether we choose to exercise any of them or not. That's another powerful choice. But
another in the world of choices, another one that this drives me bonkers, because my number one value is truth. My number two is integrity. Is when people say, I don't know what to do. Yes, you do. You do. You don't want to do it. You're scared of it. It embarrasses you. Like, there's 100 other things, but I've yet to find someone when you go, like, flip a coin, choose A or B, and they go A, and you go, I didn't want that. Like, yeah, you did, because you did know what you had to do. You knew exactly what you had to do. You just didn't want to do it. And this goes back to that speaking and hearing being in unconnected systems. If you say you don't know what to do, you're just reinforcing the neural pathway, and eventually your brain will go, oh, okay. Well, I believe you because you keep saying it. So now I believe you that you don't know what to do. Whereas if you say, I do know what to do, and I'm shit scared, then you can then start asking better questions. Well, okay, how can I mitigate that? How can I work with that? Who can help me with that? Because now you have something that can be solved. I don't know what to do is unsolvable. It's like, okay, well, you don't know what to do. So just sit in your own excrement until you fade away then. Like, because that's your only option. Like, don't be silly. You do know what to do. You know exactly what you need to do. But yeah, so it's one of my triggers when people say, I don't know what to do. I'm like, just please don't be vulnerable enough and human enough to admit that you're completely flawed, and what you're feeling right now is a legitimate emotion that you have every right to feel, but you can't process it unless you acknowledge it. So acknowledge it, because you're flawed, I'm flawed, because we're human. It's in our design to be flawed. And the things that make character traits are the flaws. So the things you fall in love with in other people is the flaws. Like, so you want to pretend you're perfect? Well, the definition of perfect is it happens exactly as planned. The only thing I know of that happens is for that is my last breath. And I'm trying to avoid that for as long as I can. So I'm trying to avoid perfect for as long as possible. I'm just going to go for imperfect momentum at all times. Imperfect momentum at all times. Anyway.
Yes.
Imperfect momentum. Yes.
I'm like 100% with you. I like that you offer like the science. You have a very science brain, which science is it's a difficult area for me to navigate. I'm a more creative, emotional, but I love how you bring it to the table in a way that I really resonate with and understand. I appreciate that so much about you. So thank you.
And I'm still wearing the sexy shirt.
I love the shirt. I think that color looks great on you. I saw you this morning and I was like, that's different. I go, wow, that actually really suits him really well. It looks fantastic.
Well, we were talking about pain and pleasure this morning. I did an exercise with AI a couple of days ago. And it was essentially saying, I'm finding it difficult to lose weight, which means that I haven't yet dialed into a deep enough truth of my pain. I'd like you as to help me go through this. And I literally had to caveat, I'm aware that you're not allowed to hurt people. I'm aware, but this is in my service. So we're going to go through a question and answer process to reach a deeper truth that I can build on. Once we've done that, I'm going to ask you to help me with the pleasure side of things, of helping me, because it's pain and then pleasure. So, okay, so we went through this exercise for like 4 hours. And by the way, Sammy, yes, you should be in the mastermind, because this is the type of stuff I teach people, not just how to do a blog post. That's not AI. Anyway, so we go through this whole exercise, and what came at the end of it was and I knew when it was about to type it, I'm like, please don't even say it. And it's that my daughter had a kid at school call her fat. And I've created that because she has modeled me in my lack of control with food. And the thought that I have caused her pain is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. Like dying before I walk her down the aisle, fine, because I've given her the life skills. I don't think that I need to be there I want to be there for that, but I don't think I need to be there for that, because that's why I'm parenting her, to make it so that she's a capable, sexy, sassy, confident, charismatic, common sense led woman who can just be without me. That's my whole job, is not to be needed. But the thought that she has modeled my actions and has caused her pain through doing it, that is unacceptable. So bringing this back to what Becky was saying. Sorry, go on.
No, I actually experienced that. I 100% resonate with this, but my experience is the flip, right? So I have a kid that is overweight. I have a couple of kids that are little overweight, and I don't go to that mindset, but mine is the opposite, because my sister is a nutritionist. She's a personal trainer. She's really health conscious, physical fitness conscious. I mean, that's her thing. That's what she focuses on. And I've watched her raise her son, and she micromanages every single thing that he puts in his mouth. She puts so much judgment against, if you eat that, it's going to cause you to be this way. If you can't do this, you can't do this. There's so much judgment. There's so much limitation that I'm almost in resistance to it. So like whenever I think about fitness and diet, I think about constantly being judged. And I want to resist judgment so much that I just rebel against doing the things that I feel would bring judgment upon me. I just kind of run in the opposite direction. So I'm finding this fascinating. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, thank you. Yeah, and I'm not even sure it's true, but it serves me for it to be true, so I'm going to believe it to be true. But then the pleasure, this is what came from it. Then the next couple of hours exercise is, well, what gives me pleasure? Because one of the things that people that aren't overweight don't understand is it's very hard to envisage not being overweight. It's next to impossible. Like you say to me, well, what would you feel like at 100 kilos? I'm like, I don't fucking know. I've never been 100. Like, how am I supposed to contextualize what that would be, feel, do? I've got no idea. No idea at all. So when influencers put on weight to lose weight to go see how easy it is, it's like, no, yeah, of course it is. Because you know what it's like to be that. So you have a desire to get back to it. I have no idea. I was a professional rugby player at the age of 15. Like, I have been fed 12,000 calories a day since I was 15. Like, and my job was to be an unmovable lump of human. That was my job. Be unmovable. Okay, got it. Check. That was my job. And I'm really good at it. Still really good at it. But one of the things that came from the pleasure side was because it started talking about health, and I can't conceive what that would be. That's not going to work. We need to go for something else. Come up with 5 other ideas. Let's get creative. Da 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 da. And one of them, it came back and said, Becky, is that people often find motivated by the clothes they wear, by stepping into that future self of being the person they want to be. And I'm like, I've got thousands of dollars of wardrobe. Why the hell am I just wearing a black t-shirt? Like, I've got colors. I'm not scared of color. I'm not scared of judgment. I don't care what people think. So yeah, let's wear something nice and feel good about myself. So when you then acknowledged it, it made my day. So thank you very much.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow,
Yeah, I love
Becky.
it. I love it.
Becky,
You
you
know-
saw all that? You saw all that from
I-
you wearing a nice shirt?
I saw Peter and I said, wow, you know what? That color really suits him. It brings out, it highlights him in such a really beautiful way. It highlights his energy in such a beautiful way. And it really lit me up just to see him in that kind of energy. And it was, the shirt just kind of set off the whole thing. So like, I was like, I want to let him know that he looks fantastic in that shirt.
Well, I'm a believer now, Becky.
You know, what's funny is that, oh my gosh, because this is, I could feel like I need to have this whole long conversation with Peter about this weight thing, because I battle the same thing. But when I looked at myself, when I look at myself in that future projection, or my past projection and my future projection, because I used to be very thin, and that's where I want to envision myself, not being too thin, but like healthy. What comes to me is like, if I were to embody that, I honestly feel that I would become very vain.
Oh yeah,
I would be very
I'm going to become
self-obsessed.
insanely vain.
Yeah,
All right.
heck yeah.
But I have judgment around vanity, which was really interesting. So when you asked that question, I was like, I'm going to become very vain. And all of a sudden, it's like, that's a bad thing. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. Why am I judging vanity so harshly? So thank you for that awareness. I'm going to have to dig into that a little bit more and explore why I have so much judgment around vanity.
I think a lot of the spaces that I hallucinate that you maybe exist in, only because of one connection through the daily rush, so it's a wild extrapolation, is they tend to live in a space of saying phrases like, we're a human body living, having a spiritual existence. We're a spiritual existence having a human body. And that is 100% true. But the opposite sentence is also true. Like, we have our first, like, you probably heard me talk about this, Becky, so many times, but your amygdala is the first thing that has every sensory input goes through your amygdala. And your amygdala is hundreds of thousands of years old. It's tuned in to the words flight, fight, feed, and fuck. Like, that's its only operating system. That's what it's about. So when people are like, no, I want to heal the world, and yeah, that's cool. I love that. Well, what do you want for you? Well, no, that's what I want. No, but yeah, you're not telling the truth. You're not telling the truth, because you've been conditioned into this model of this exemplary person. And yeah, you are that person, but you're also the person that wants to drive a Ferrari. or own a football club, or have your ass look good in a great pair of jeans. Like, that is who you are. And if you don't acknowledge that, it's just going to consume you and just consistently pull you back. And it's like, no, I want to buy a bank. I want to solve equitable credit for Latinos. And I want to make $1 billion while I do it. Thanks very much. Appreciate it. And yeah, I'm going to fly private. Yeah. And I'll carbon offset. But yeah. And I'll 10x carbon offset. I'll buy a forest, but I'm still going to fly private because I want to fly private. Deal with it. Like, you don't have to just live in the space of this divine, like, the science of getting rich is like such a great book. It's like, God wants you to be rich.
Yes,
He doesn't want you to be poor. Wants you to be rich so that he can feed more through you.
Yes. Yeah.
Go and get rich. Don't be poor. That's ridiculous. That's a bad solution. That's a bad solution. Be ridiculously wealthy. Because, like, this weekend, my mum has got this thing, and they used to do the driveway, and da 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 da. And it's like, oh my God, and da da da. And the quote came back at £9,000, and I wired her the money. I didn't ask. I just wired her the money, and she called me like a day later. Went, what's going on? I'm like, you said you needed the driveway done. She's like, can you afford it? I'm like, well, by the very nature of the fact that it's in your bank, not mine, the answer apparently is yes. So I can't repay you. I'm like, you can't repay me for the 18 years of shit I put you through. Like, trust me, the balance of trade here is way in your favor. Way. After being a parent for 8 years, it is way in your favor. I could give you everything I ever have, and we're nowhere near quits. Oh.
You know, you brought up something for me in the share that it's really true. We like to think, for some reason, we think that God has limited resources, right? we think that, like, we can't ask for too much because there's only so many prayers that God can answer today. We can't get too greedy in our ask. We can't get too greedy in what we want and our desires. We can't get too greedy in what we believe God is going to bless us with monetarily or anything, because we say that he's a God that is like unlimited resources, or the universe has these unlimited resources, but yet we behave and go about living like there are finite resources that have to be spread out upon each and every one of us, and the more people born in, the less piece of the pie we're going to get. And that is so interesting, how we behave that way and how we actually operate from that place. And we just need to, like, just tear that shit up and just like rip that all to shreds.
Okay, straw poll for everybody. Question 1, how many stars do you think are in the Milky Way?
I think it's 100 million, but
100 million, 6 billion.
Yeah, about 1 billion or more, something like that.
Billion or more. Okay.
Yeah.
Becky?
I'm going big. I have like 192 trillion.
Well, Becky's the closest.
Really?
There are 100 billion stars that we can observe in the Milky Way. Okay.
That we can observe only. Yeah.
That we can observe. Now, next question. The Milky Way is one galaxy. How many galaxies do you think that we're aware of?
100 billion.
I think like a handful, maybe like 3 or something like 3.
Handful, maybe. Okay. Janine?
What
Yeah.
was it again? I'm sorry, my
You too.
husband was talking.
How many galaxies exist in the universe?
I'm gonna say
There's no-
7,000.
7,000 galaxies. Wow.
Cool. So there are 2 trillion.
2 trillion. Oh my goodness.
Two.
So you want to talk about abundance? There are 100 billion stars in our galaxy, and there are 2 trillion stars 2
trillion
trillion galaxies
galaxies.
that we believe exist based on the math and da 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 da. I can't
Each with about,
do
about
the
100
math
billion.
to do 2 trillion times 100 billion. That's a very large number.
Right.
And to put that in context for you, it is more than is estimated. There are grains of sand on this planet. P.S. It's more than estimated just for the stars in our galaxy. There are more stars in our galaxy than there are grains of sand on the Earth. And there are 2 trillion of those. So when we want to talk about meeting science and religion, and we talk about abundance, there are 2 trillion stars, galaxies, that have 100 billion stars in them. That's how much there is out there. So is there a finite number? Yeah. But is it a finite number that you can ever get anywhere near, ever in your entire life? No. The level of abundance on offer to everybody is absurd. And there's that great quote of, it's not what we can achieve that we're scared of, it's how great we are, or whatever the quote is. That's what scares us. Because when you realize how big you can play, and then you have to acknowledge how small you're playing, it's a scary thought as to what you could do. Winners want the ball.
So Becky, I want
Yeah.
to interject human development into this conversation.
A human design. Yeah.
Human design, yeah.
Uh-huh.
As a responsive generator, who's also a hermit opportunist, I would want to come alongside Peter and help him do whatever he's going to do, and just respond to him and give him wisdom and all this stuff. But I'm not going to do what he's going to do, because and I'm going to coin the word here, I think he's an active generator, because I don't know that much about the whole system.
I'm a 4-1.
A full 1, okay. Yeah, that's what you are. And I'm a 2-4, so I'm a 2. So I in your organization, I would be helping you, succeed. And I would be succeeding and helping you, and I'd be succeeding right along with you in your success, but I would not be you. And that's the only point I want to make. So it's like, so I don't need to be, I could be joyful for your success, and I don't need to be envious of your success, and I don't need to try to be successful the way you're being successful, because my success would lie in supporting you in your success, because that's my identity. It's like, just want to make that point, especially for David, because he's wrestling with all this stuff right now. It's how to be and be in the growth pattern, and not be overwhelmed by everyone's suggestion as to how to do it.
Well, Dave, the right advice at the wrong time is still the wrong advice.
Oh,
I
beautiful.
love that. Yes.
Wow.
100%. Yes.
Perfect.
Mate,
Yeah.
my Tony Robbins journey, I gave myself one question, and maybe it would help you, because it was like, whoa. And the question every day was, where does the universe want me to be today?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that. I hear this from some places sometimes. It's if you could go back in time and say something to a younger version of yourself, would you do that, or would you take $1 million? And the guy from today, he said, they asked that question again, and I still came up with the same answer. I'm going to take the $1 million, because I would never listen to myself. So that comes back to, the right advice at the wrong time. So what would be the point of me taking, okay, go back 10 years and talk to myself, for me, clearly not to believe that I'm who I am, and then to not listen to anything, as I didn't listen to anybody back then, or take $1 million now with everything I know and grow. Just, yeah, I love that. Everything you said is just so amazing. I'm still sitting here at the gym. People have came in and already left now, but I couldn't I couldn't be more grateful than to hear this conversation from Peter. It's, you know,
Yeah.
it's like there's like something that I needed to hear for sure.
You wanna? I'll tell you something that not many people actually know. I spent 20 years wishing I was done. I spent 20 years wishing I was done, because my IQ's off the scale, my EQ's off the scale. So what happens in my life regularly is someone will call and say, "Hey, how you doing? How's the kids?" And my previous self used to say a question like, "Yeah, what are their names?" I go, "Sorry, like, what are their names? If you care so much about my kids, what are their names?" And they're like, "Well," I'm like, "Can we just get to the bit where you ask me for the favor and we stop pretending you give a shit about me?" And the problem I've always had is I'm normally 8 steps ahead of a conversation or a person or a thing that's happening, because I'm like, yeah, I've thought this through. I know where we're going. I know what's going to be said. So I became highly, highly cynical of people. I really, really didn't like people. Love dogs, love cats, didn't like people. Because dogs and cats are ridiculously honest, especially cats. They go, "Fuck you." They're just like, "You feed me, I'll stay. You don't, I'll leave." I'm like, yeah, I appreciate the honesty of that. But people get caught up in so much, and until I spent enough time in the Tony spaces to perceive a deeper truth of everyone's just doing the best with what they've got. And aside from a very, very, very small amount of people, no one's trying to screw you over, no one's trying to hurt you, no one's trying to do anything. The amount of time somebody wakes up in the morning and goes, "I'm just going to screw that guy over or that girl over," it's very, 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 very small. Normally you're just a casualty of their war, of the thing they're trying to do in their life. But I used to say it was like, this is the gift that I never asked for. Because I had this, I still kind of proven theory, which is if you're driving a car down the highway and there was no bad sounds and no warning lights, you just carry on driving. Whereas if there's a warning light or a sound, you stop and examine the car and you either fix it or you call AAA. And the brain works the same. We're happy, we're naked, we're playing in the mud, everything's great. And then through a set of traumas, some with little t's and some with big t's, we go, "I didn't like the way that felt. I didn't like that. So I'm going to change my behavior in order to avoid it. And I'm going to become this instead of becoming that." Not consciously, but I think that's how our personalities develop. What that means is, the great thing about science is replicable and most formulas can be worked backwards. So that means if you can perceive the personality trait, you can perceive the trauma. So if you see an acute personality trait in somebody, you can actually go, "Yeah, this is what happened."
Yeah.
Pretty accurately, you can go, "Yeah, this is what happened. This is what happened with your mum and dad. This is what happened with this. This is what happened with this. Da, 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 da." And as soon as you understand somebody's trauma, your ability to manipulate them into something is exponentially higher. So up until I met my wife, I was an absolute scumbag. I was a shithead of the tallest order. And I was a marketeer that worked for cigarette companies, defense companies, fast food companies. You bring me the shitty job, and I'm your guy. "Hey, how do we sell these cigarettes to 16-year-olds? No problem. Let me at it. How do we sell these weapons to Kosovo rebels? Yeah, I can figure that out." Because I was only seeking intellectual. I was in such pain because of what happened at the school that I had no desire for connection with anybody. Like, anything was too much. I wanted everybody at arm's length, and I just played intellectual games. I was just playing with my IQ. So how do you sell a cigarette to a 16-year-old in a way that everybody's okay with is like a great intellectual challenge. Right? That's a great challenge for IQ. And then I got married, and then I had my kids, and I realized that I had to build a world that they're going to live in, because my misunderstanding of parenthood before I had my kids was that parenthood was connected to the time they were in your house. That was my before I had my kids. I was like, oh, so you're like, you've birth 18 years old, thanks very much, I'm a parent. And then Olivia got put in my arms, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm a parent for life. And if everything goes well, it's till the day I die. God forbid it's till the day she dies. But if everything goes well, I'm a parent till the day I die. So I have to create a world for her. I think, Sammy, I've told you this. This is I had this hallucination of her being taken advantage of by this elder guy, not old, but like a guy, in 17 years' time. I'm like, well, that's unacceptable.
Yep.
Can't happen. So how am I going to make sure that can't happen? Well, first of all, I have to arm her with the tools for her to be able to do that. But if I really want to guarantee it, I have to change his behavior as well. Okay, so now I've got something I can go after, which is, how do I change the behavior of a guy called Bob 17 years in the future that I'm never going to meet? Okay. I mean, that's a tough question.
That's an intellectual
It's a solvable question. That's an intellectual challenge. And the answer is, I turn up at the morning rush and I help Laura, and I speak here and I elevate this person. I come here and I elevate that person. I come here and I elevate that person. So am I present at dinner time on Tuesdays and Thursdays? No, I'm not. But am I ensuring, and I wish I was, for my selfishly, because I love spending time with them, but I'm not buying a bank, I'm not doing a financing company, I'm not doing a thing. I'm changing the world so that Olivia doesn't have any traumas with big T's are out. Little T's, yes. Iron sharpens iron. She needs a personality. She needs to be a beautiful whole person. But
yeah,
no, Bob doesn't get to do that. Bob gets to wake up in a great space, in a great way, and go about his day and go, no, I shouldn't take advantage of an 18-year-old girl. I should call her a cab. Basically protecting her from the guy I was. So, yeah.
Wow. Beautiful. Love it.
And yeah, I'd take $1 million as well, by the way. Unless I could change, there's only one moment in time I'd change. And it's where I hurt somebody that I can't undo. So it's literally my only regret in the whole, like, in 40x years. That's my only moment. I'm like, yeah, and I can't undo it. But so for anything to have changed my life and my path, if you love who you are now and you're proud of who you are and you're excited about who you are, you shouldn't change anything. Because if you change anything, you have no idea who you become or where you are and what you'll be doing. It's all that. Sammy, why did the invite have a spiral and then what is often used as an emoji for an ejaculation?
That's an interesting question. My answer is that's a perception of a wonderful invitation that Janine created I'm using.
I waited an hour and 20 minutes to ask. That emoji is used in certain contexts.
Well, it was a successful invitation, so I'm glad you saw it that way, because you showed up.
Things are being created here, and
yeah, it's all the fountain of creativity.
Yeah, so it's kind of appropriate because that is the ultimate creative juices, so to speak,
Sure.
of life.
I'm all for it. Yeah, we're gonna end the session with a bang.
Well, I need to cut off, but I did want to say to Sammy that your meditation was absolutely amazing. I got taken to a completely different place. I kind of lost. You have like a really great voice for hypnotherapy. If you ever wanted to explore that somewhere in the future, but I was really taken to just a whole different place, and it was really amazing and powerful. So thank you for being that channel this evening. We love you so much.
Becky, you're so welcome. And that meditation was for you, by the way.
No, thank you, love.
You're welcome.
Sammy, I loved it too. I love your voice. I just could listen to it all night. I guess I could. I could put the recording on a loop, maybe. I don't know.
We could listen to this whole session, right?
But yeah, the other thing I have to say is you look good in black.
Oh my goodness. Am I wearing black? I think it's more of a navy blue.
Okay, well, it looks black to me. But that dark color, it's
My dress blues, right? Yeah, thank you.
girls. Do you agree?
Yes. Yes. Sammy.
Look at this acknowledgement. So thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, this is my love language. I appreciate it. Okay, I'm receiving all the acknowledgement. Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
And
Thank you.
I don't know why you wear black. My wife and I both did the color palette thing. We each have our own colors with fabrics on palettes, and I'm not supposed to wear black, but I do it anyway.
Yeah, you look good in black.
Although that was before I had gray hair, so I think it's a little better now. Or white hair. My hair's kind of white, grayish white. Anyway.
David,
you.
you doing good over there?
This
Did
guy
you
has
get
to. He didn't
Did you
get to do
get
his
to
push-up.
listen? Did you get to listen to my recordings yet? I'm just out of curiosity. There's no pressure one way or another. I'm just curious.
I did get to listen to it, and it's kind of like one of the other videos I was talking about. It's like I'm gonna listen to it again, and kind of like Sammy's voice, like I'm just gonna listen to it because I love the sound of your voice too. So
Oh,
I'm just gonna keep listening to. I need Sammy to record a couple things, and then I'm gonna listen to that so I can get more out of that. I was at the park when I was listening to that, and so I guess I wasn't fully present with it. I haven't had a chance to be with most things, or I have. I guess I don't know. I'm trying my best, but
Yeah,
I
David.
did. I do love the perspective and the help and the guidance of clarification on it, and it did help me. But with my day today, it's just been so full, and even after this, before I go into the gym, I'm still going to record my audio for my video. So it's like my head's in the past, in the future, and I love getting the chance to be, some peace, and then Peter, he brings so much to this, so I have even more to process. So, but I love it, I love it.
David seizing the day. Not over yet, baby. You just started. You're gonna work till 2 a.m.
Might be.
So, David, just realizing that we are both hermits and that in our hermitic activities where we're just doing our own thing and filling ourselves full of what we're learning and the things we're curious about, that we are actually creating the opportunities that are going to come to us through that activity. And then with the opportunities, the social aspects, we're social hermits, so it's like we like our alone time. We need it, but then we need to get out there and interact with other people. And it's in our interaction then with the other people that the opportunities arise. And people will just sense your energy, and it's like opportunities will start to come to you because you are in this self-development phase and you're really paying attention to it and you're really on the growth path. So I really expect good things for you, in terms of what's going to happen for your abundance quotient here. That's good.
Sammy, have you done your human design yet?
I have not.
Oh, you're getting a phone call. It's
I know.
fun. It's
I know.
fun. It's so much.
Oh,
I'm a 1-3, so what do you call it? The investigative martyr.
boy.
So fitting. It's so absolutely fitting for me. But yes, I think it's so cool that David and Steve have the same profile. Steve is a generator. David's a manifesting generator like me. I just think it makes so much sense.
I'm hearing a lot about the human design, and I thought I knew something about it. I've taken personality tests before, especially during before interviews, especially for Ray Dalio's private equity firm. I took a personality test for that, and I went to an interview, and I hated that interview. Yeah, but yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that conversation, Becky. Self-discovery. You know, I sometimes I resist self-discovery because I'm like, what the hell do they know about me? I am who I say I am, and I change whenever I want to change. You know, who the hell?
And you'll find out why once you do the human design. So.
All right.
Yeah.
I guess that's a personality. Okay, fine. I got it.
Sammy, let me, as someone that did it, let me just tell you, I hate the fact that it's correct. It bends every part of my being, and the fact that the guy that put it together gave himself this really wonderful name.
Yes,
but he discovered it on a cliff in Ibiza, which essentially means he was tripping his nuts off. And he came up with this really, and I just the whole origin story that got packaged around it is like, yeah, you're full of shit. You were tripping your nuts off, and either you came up with something or something was gifted to you, but you were tripping your nuts off. There's no way you were sitting on Ibiza at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I know exactly what happens in Ibiza at 4 o'clock in the morning. Unfortunately, when you do it, you're like, yeah, that's pretty. That's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
But it's not really a personality test. It's more of a like astrology on steroids.
Wow.
You just give your birth date, and it's amazing the results.
And where you were born in the world, though.
Yeah, where you were born, yeah.
Oh, okay, fine. It's
basic. The basic point is every star has an energy, and if you can map what energies hit you at the moment you came into this world, then it sounds just all sorry, it just all sounds bollocks, but
it does.
It's really hard to avoid that when you see it, you're like, God damn it. I really wanted to be a skeptic.
it's so you're hitting it right on the head. That's so true.
all right.
For me, it helped me understand myself better and being less resistance to myself, and just started to like, okay, an acceptance. Okay, yeah, this pretty much nailed me right here. This is how I am. Knowing that this is how I operate, knowing that this is how I have to go about doing something. How can I create and incorporate all this stuff so that I can create at such a stronger level? I can do things with a lot more ease, or I can navigate through this life a lot more easier now that I have this understanding and information of how I work and how I am designed to move through this life experience.
Yeah, like I'm a manifester, so I can't make energy. I just can't do it. Generators can literally make stuff. They can make energy, but they can't make stuff. A manifester needs a generator to go, okay. And there's another one called a reflector, which is a bit of an oddity. But basically, most people fit into generator, manifesting generator, or manifester. They're the three large archetypes. And then you get these 4 ones, these numbers that we're all throwing around. And I like 4-1 is called the bonus life. And I was like, yeah, what can I say? But
Guilty.
but a 4-1, the universe bends to them, whereas everybody else, roughly speaking, has to bend to the universe. And it's like, oh, that's why everything goes in the right way. I just want to say something to David, if I can. David, can I offer you a piece of advice?
Yeah, go ahead.
Give yourself a fucking hall pass, man.
Give myself a what? Say it again.
Give yourself a hall pass. Like, the amount of pressure that my sensing of hearing you talk is laden of expectation, and I should be this and I should be doing, and like, just give yourself a break, man. Like, you're beautiful, you're amazing, like, full stop, end of story. And what will be, and what is, and what was. and you're largely irrelevant in this amazingly wonderful world, just like all of us. You're a speck of carbon that will appear and disappear in a blink of an eye. And that sounds, some people think that sounds depressing, but to me it's freeing, because it actually means that your choices are largely irrelevant. Like, the universe is going to carry on no matter what you do. So you're probably not going to get it that wrong. So just go and do whatever you want to do. Like, I just feel this immense pressure that you're putting on yourself. And it's like, just give yourself a break.
I feel like I really needed to hear that. It's like sometimes, and then coming from another man, it really helps me, because I heard a lot of shit today. You know, like somebody else was talking about having a lack of attachment, or no, something about their dads. And I was like, I never had dads. So like when I hear it from a man's perspective, it kind of helps me more, and then I enjoy that. Yeah. I don't know where I'm going with that. I appreciate it a lot.
Being into an internal narrative of thank you and fuck you.
I love when you say that every time. Thank you and fuck you.
Thank you and fuck you. Like, I'm super grateful that you care enough to give me your opinion. And I really don't give a shit about the opinion itself. The act of caring enough to tell me is beautiful. The thing you're telling me itself, fuck off. Like, and I mean, like, I do mean it. Like, I'm so grateful that you feel that I'm worthy of you spending calories telling me something. And the thing you actually told me is complete crap. So fuck you. But I still super appreciate it. I'm so super grateful. Thank you and fuck you.
Don't take offense.
And I have learned to say it's an inside voice, apparently, not an outside voice. Blessed to have a wife that chips off some of the rough edges.
Becky was teaching us how to do that today in today's meditation.
Yes, like you're thank you so much, Peter. Like, you're supporting everything. The messages.
Oh my God, here we go.
Given.
Becky got
No, but he just gave us the street version of interesting point of view. I don't have that point of view. That's the street version he just delivered. Oh, that's interesting. I'm not accepting that. Like, I don't have that. But it's great that you feel that way, but not for me. Thanks. See ya. That's the street version of that. Yeah.
I ran a company where we had a swear jar, and the swear jar was for 3-syllable words. And the whole company is like, the human heart doesn't understand a 3-syllable word. It's bollocks. 2 syllables or less, thanks very much. And they're like, what? I'm like, you can swear, you can curse, you can say what you like. But as soon as you start saying words like cross-collaboration or ideate, you're putting money in the jar, because it's not a word your heart understands, which means it can't move anyone to do anything. And the exercise of coming up with long, spurious words to explain a thing is just self-gratification of ego. To look how smart I am. I've got big words. Okay, great. You got big words. Wonderful. Go grab a cookie and leave your big words there, and then come back with some small words that people can actually understand. So the street version is thank you and fuck you. Everybody understands what I mean by it. There's no lack of communication. Communication. See, 5 syllables. Talk, listen, talking and listening. But
it's just that some people might not be mature enough to accept that fuck you without engaging in physical aggression.
I have the blessing at this point in my life of weighing 350 pounds, so most people don't bother.
Well, there you go. You get away with it all the time.
Well, that's why I supplied the alternative. Interesting point of view. I don't have that
For the
point of
rest
view.
of us.
It's the same energy of fuck you. Thank you, but
Yeah,
fuck
Steve.
you. Same energy. Same energy. Peter,
Yeah,
Peter,
Steve.
what's your star? What's your sign?
Oh,
I'm sorry, David.
I am a true. I am a perfect Leo. So I was born.
Nailed it.
I was born on exactly the middle day. The sun is my rising sign. I'm a fire snake. Like, every single part of me is lined up behind Leo, which is essentially food, feast, and everything amygdala. And if you're not in my tribe, I really don't care.
Thank you.
Yeah, but if you're in my tribe, I'll fly across the world to stand in front of a bullet. Like it's a very binary existence. But yeah, Leo upon Leo upon Leo. Give me a stage, give me a meal, give me a drink, and give me a party, and I'll be there. Yeah, I don't think I'm a hard one to read, Becky, to be honest.
Yeah, I got Leo like blaring from you. I love it. I'm a Pisces, Libra. So I've got I'm very emotional.
I was super blessed. Like when I was a kid, one of the guys that lived in the flat block was a guy called Bill Sarubi. And Bill was an astrologer that was hired by the Abu Dhabi National Bank because he did these complex workups of companies, boards, CEOs to forecast the future of a company. And he either, depending on which narrative you prefer, he either caused Black Friday, the crash of the UK stock market in the 80s, or he avoided Abu Dhabi and Dubai losing any money in Black Friday, whichever way you look at it. He was the one that went, there's such an alignment of things here that we need to get our money out because this is going to go horribly wrong. But them taking their money out was one of the contributing factors that led to the whole thing. So either he caused it or he saved it. But he did my chart for me when I was like 12, and his version of doing a chart was like a 95-page markup of how each planet is intersecting with. It's kind of more human design. It was like how everything connects. It was a fascinating exercise.
David, were you going to say something before that I interrupted you? I apologize.
I was just going to say that I hope Steve doesn't take that to his prison talks. You know, do not take that into prison.
Oh yeah, that's right. I don't know if they'll be very receptive to thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was born
You don't want
under a
the
bad
cards.
moon. I'm doomed.
He'll never
Oh
he'll never be let in
God,
again.
Peter.
Bad moon, right?
Jesus.
Well, I'm just replying with the same emoji. Like that's what that emoji means.
He said the squirt marks all in the chat. If you guys aren't paying any attention.
Yeah, I'm not doing the chat, so I'm not seeing it.
Well, let's do it as it's supposed to be done then. If we're going to do this,
You gonna get the eggplant out or what?
of course I am.
There you go.
Oh, there it is.
There it is.
You start it, not me.
Well, I want to say thank you, Sammy, for holding the space. There's been a lot of peace, clarity, joy, happiness, excitement, sadness. You know, so many emotions in this here. So I couldn't be more than grateful for this time. I'm going to try to get some stuff done, and I will see you tomorrow.
Beautiful, man.
It is fun
Take care,
playing with you, David.
Bye.
Have a good night, man.
Yeah,
This
this
is
has been
awesome.
fun.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for amazing contributions. Peter Swain, what a pleasure. What a gift you were today.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for giving me the stage.
Give him a stage, give him a drink.
Give him the opportunity to
Give him the
curse
opportunity,
without
oh
getting
boy.
people pissed off. That's what he really needs.
Yeah, somebody on the morning rush really upset me this morning because I checked everyone, no kids were in the room, everything was good, and then somebody came off camera with like 3 kids in the back of their car. I'm like, come on, man. Like, that's not my fault, but I still feel bad.
Well, Rhiannon's daughter loves you. She goes, "Where's Peter?"
That's the accent. That's fine.
It's like a, that's
I'm
great.
actually dumb as rocks and completely unenlightened. You're just all taking the accent and running with it, so that's fine.
Hey, why not?
Oh, you've done this now, Becky. You've now made it so I have to finish off the entire thing with that.
Oh boy.
You forgot an essential part. Come on. Well, maybe it's not essential, but for some. But...
Yeah,
But
I don't know.
certainly more fun.
All right. Good night, guys. Love you all. This has been awesome.
No, 4 a.m.
Delightful time. Thanks. Thanks for the show.
Have a good everyone.
Have
See
a
some of you
wonderful night.
tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Sammy.
Amazing.
He's fun.
it's 10:43 Eastern time. That was an hour and 43 minutes of sharing. It's amazing.
It really is, but it was also valuable. He's in that contribution mode, where he's making the world a better place.
Yeah, yeah.
Just by elevating others with his wisdom.
I'm looking forward to tomorrow morning.
Yeah. So you got to go to bed.
Have a wonderful night.
You too, Sammy. Thanks.
Okay, peace.
Good night.